2 years ago, I wrote Dr. Shelton a letter, and it was about the condition of my little boy. I have a little 10-year-old boy, and we'd spent a fortune of money on various doctors until we hit natural hygiene. And the answer that he sent contained more knowledge in 2 sentences than I've ever gotten from all of these professors, so-called professors. I feel that I should make that announcement too, and let Dr. Shelton know how I personally feel. Dr. Shelton. I am supposed to answer for you this evening a question that mankind has been answering all down the historic period. And there are only 2 answers. The one is yes and the other no. And many people take one choice and others take the other. I believe Clarence Darrow once debated with somebody on the question, and he took the position that life is not worth living, and I'm told that he proved that it's not. Well, he isn't here tonight. Maybe he really meant it. There is another answer, however, that is conditional. Is life worth living, we may say, depends upon the liver. You can take that in 2 ways, and either one of them may be correct. Last evening I was asked a question from the floor. What results, or what proof of results have you in multiple sclerosis? I told you at that time of a man that had been under my care for multiple sclerosis only recently. I told you of the progress that he had made and of the progress that he is still making. And I told you that I expected him here for this convention. Last night, after I left the hall and went to my bedroom, my telephone rang, and that particular patient called me from Reading, Pennsylvania. He promised that he would just get here. So I'm hoping that he will. But in the course of our conversation, he said, I'm working. He is an optometrist, as I told you. I am getting along fine. I am still improving. I am very optimistic and very hopeful. I tell you this in order to go back a little bit and point out something to you about this man that I didn't tell you last night. When he came to me, his idea was that life is no longer worth living. He was ready to commit suicide. He'd been under the care of a number of the best neurologists in the East. I may as well point out to you that he comes of a wealthy family, and they had the money to pay the high prices that these specialists charge. That is the chief value of being a specialist. You can charge high prices for inferior services. Somebody wants to find a specialist as an ordinary physician away from home. But in addition to that, he has been defined as a man who knows a quarter of an inch of anatomy. And he confines himself to that quarter of an inch. But this man had been under the care of some of the best neurologists in the East for a number of years. And all of them had told him that the case was hopeless. They could do nothing for him. And yet, they continued to treat him. And he continued to go from one neurologist to another and spend his money. A few days after he returned home from my place, he met a surgeon friend of his, and the surgeon friend said to him, you know you're having an effect on me. Instead of eating my usual hot dog for lunch, I had a grapefruit and an orange for lunch today. This was a man who, of course, before he went down there, had told him that he was wasting his money. That quack could do nothing for him. I didn't tell you this story to advertise myself. I have told you this story to illustrate the difference between a life that is worth living and one that may be worth living. There are lives that are not worth living. a life of illness, a life of weakness, a life of sickness, a life of misery, a life of discomfort, a life of mental inability is not worth living. But a life of strength, a life of health, a life of vigor, a life that is overflowing with the very sheer joy and happiness of living. The life of one who has all of his mental and sensory faculties is worth living. Life can be full of joy and happiness. It does not have to be a life of misery and unhappiness. Nor do you have to be wealthy in order to be happy. As a matter of fact, it seems to me that the most miserable people I know are the people who have something to lose. And they're constantly worrying about losing it. What would happen to me if I lost my money or my property? I never have to worry about that because I have nothing to lose. You need, for happiness, you need, as a foundation for it, good health. You need also a proper attitude towards life and towards your fellow man. Nobody who goes around hating people, individuals or all people, hating them because you don't agree with their religion, or because you don't agree with their politics, or because you don't like the shape of their nose. It may be worse than mine, but you don't have to hate the individual because of it. Hating them for one reason or another, such an individual cannot possibly be happy. And he cannot possibly think that life is worth living. A life that is lived contrary to the laws of life, one that is lived on a low level, one that is lived in a sordid manner, one that is lived in indulgence and in dissipation, one that is lived in idleness, is definitely not worth living. If you're not doing something, if you're not doing something constructive, if you're not doing something to help not only yourselves, but your fellow men, if you're not doing something to improve yourself, if you're not doing something useful and worthwhile, then their life is not worth living. I know many men and women who spend their lives in the accumulation of money. And I can't think of anything that is more wasteful of life. I have a friend who has oil in Texas, and I don't mean banana oil, the real article. And she has quite a large income from oil wells. She comes to my place occasionally and spends a little time to get herself back into condition. Of course, she goes out and gets herself out of condition again. People who have money usually do that. And she made the remark to me once, Dr. Shelton, I never saw anybody in all my life who cared less about money than you do. I told you last night I'd be perfectly satisfied if I only had 10 million. It isn't money that we need to pile up. I had an aunt who died a few years ago, and she left a small estate, and part of it came to our family. And as much as my father died before it was settled, I was elected by the family to look after it, and I went up to the city where she lived, or where she had died, at the time the will was settled. And I rode from one town to another with a lawyer that was handling our side of the case. And I learned what he got for his work and contrasted to what I received. I said to him, whose aunt was it that died, yours or mine? accumulate all this money and you leave it behind you for the lawyers to get, and the courts, and the government. They have their inheritance taxes. By the time the lawyers and the government and the courts get rid of it, get through with you, there's not much left, and the children usually fight over what's left, and the longer they fight, the more the lawyers get. Why waste your life in merely accumulating money? Money is worthwhile, it's useful. It's something that we use or should use. Use with which to do something, not merely to pile up in the bank. I have a friend who said to me once some years ago, I was trying to buy a place from him, and his price was outrageously high. One day he said to me, he said, Dr. Shelton, I don't need your money. I've got so much money down there in the bank now I have to handle it with a shovel, and I don't know what to do with it. He says, I'll give you the house. That sounded a little too good to be true, and I didn't take it on the terms he offered it. But what good is money that you have to shovel in the bank and put it into the vault, and you can't do anything with it? You finally lent $5 million or $4 million of that money to Russia. I don't know whether they got it back or not, or even the end of it. Sometimes you make bad investments, even though you have had enough monetary sense to make money. A life that is spent doing something really constructive, something that has some ethical value, something that has some value to the people around you, is a life worth living. A life that is lived on a low level, as I said before, is not worth living. I remember once making a remark about a friend who insisted that he was going to continue doing a certain thing, even if it killed him. I said to him, well, I'm perfectly willing that it kill you. I have no objections if you haven't. It's your life. Go ahead. The quicker you kill yourself, the quicker you make room on the earth for somebody who is intelligent enough to live rationally. Now, I mentioned last night that everybody that dies is a suicide. Some of you die by inches and some by degrees, but you kill yourselves with your gluttony, your poison habits, your tobacco, your alcohol, your tea and coffee, your soda fountain slops, your denatured food, your excesses of all kinds, your worries and your griefs and your anxieties and your quarrels and your jealousies. With these things, you slowly but inevitably destroy yourself. An old physician, nearly 200 years ago, wrote a book on human longevity. And in that book, he made this statement: man does not die, he kills himself. And it's true. Now, it is up to us, as individuals and as a group, to make our lives worth living by living it in a worthwhile manner. It will not be worth living on any other basis. I don't go along with the people who worship the world's hero. The man spends his lifetime in the army as one of the devil's figuremen. He wins acclaim in some murder fest that the rulers of the earth pull off. And from that time on, he is a great man. And what does his greatness consist of? in the fact that he has been instrumental in slaughtering and having slaughtered great numbers of men on the other side as well as on his own side of the slaughter fest. After they have finished the war, they sit down around the conference table and they work out peace terms. It would have been just as easy to sit down around the table and work them out without the war. And if we had intelligent men handling the affairs of the earth instead of drug addicts, instead of coffee and tobacco users, instead of drunkards, instead of sex perverts, instead of neurotics and psychotics and actual insane individuals, this would be done. And life for all of us would be far more pleasant, far more desirable than it is under the present miserable conditions under which we live. Our friends of the various theological persuasions have a hell into which to cast us after we die. There isn't really any need for the thing. The rulers of earth have made a hell of earth so we can take care of ourselves in that particular fashion without dying. And it is up to us to change this thing and make life worth living. Somebody asked me, how would you get rid of government? Government, all government, every state that ever existed in this earth is an enemy of mankind. Somebody said to me once, how would you get rid of it? I said, in this country, my plan would be very simple. If everybody will do just two things, it will end it very quickly. First, every person should refuse to pay taxes. Then the politicians will have no money to play with. Second, everybody should cease to vote, and nobody will be elected to office. Now, nobody would want to be elected if there was no money in the treasury. And if you stop paying taxes, they wouldn't look for an election. I know that the Declaration of Independence says that all governments derive their just power from the consent of the governed. And nobody ever asked me for my consent. And I've never given it. And neither have you. And I have been unable to find a record of a single state in all history that wasn't created by force and maintained by force, and it hasn't been sitting on top of the people making life as miserable as possible for them all down the ages. And there are other things besides the state that make life miserable for us. When I was a kid, I used to go to church. Every Sunday I went to church. And the preacher was so good that when I came home after church, I could actually smell the fumes of burning brimstone and feel the heat. Well, you can imagine the state of fear I was in. I went around in a state of fear of hell. In other words, I had a hell of my own. I got away from it after a time. I begun to see that it was that such a doctrine, if it was true, would convert the creator of this universe into an infinite being. Turn the into an infinite being. I wouldn't treat even a tick that way. And I believe if there's a creator, he must be bigger and better than I am. And if he isn't bigger and better than I am, I wouldn't worship him anyhow. But they create fear. They drive us with fear. And then there is the medical profession that has battened on fear throughout the ages. Fear of epidemics, fear of disease, fear of death, fear of this, of that, and of the other. 90% of what they tell you about disease is false, and the other 10% is not quite true. They can pull out your teeth, they can take out your tonsils, or they can remove your appendix and your gallbladder and your ovaries and your seminal vesicles and your tubes and your womb. They can take out everything that they can get without producing instantaneous death. And then if you still suffer, they'll tell you, well, I don't know why you still suffer. I've removed all the causes of your trouble. They convert you into a mass of scar tissue and a bundle of nerves, and when they have finished the job, they say to you, well, now there's nothing wrong with you. You just imagine you're sick, you need a psychiatrist. The sole reason that we have psychiatrists today is that the medical profession is building neurotics and psychotics faster than the psychiatrists can hasten them into the henceforth. If we would learn to live sensibly and sanely, if we would learn to nourish our bodies with wholesome foods and avoid the destructive practices that are so common today, we wouldn't need psychiatrists, or we wouldn't think we need them. Neither would we need the surgeon, nor the physician. I had a little girl, I've got a little girl from New York down at my place now. She came down there all crippled up, wearing a brace on her back. Couldn't bend over. They told her that she had a lime deposit in her spine. They had x-rayed her. I've been hearing about lime deposits in the conversations around in the hall here since I'm here. They got lime deposits. The young girl had once been an acrobatic dancer, and now she couldn't even bend over to pick up a pin off the floor. In addition to that, she was wearing glasses, screwing up her eyes even then, trying to see. Now she's doing acrobatic dancing again. The lime deposit has suddenly gone. I don't know where it went to. And she threw away her glasses several weeks ago. She sees beautifully without her glasses. She's very happy. Life has again become worth living. But what do you think she thought of life when she was suffering with that pain? Constant pain, day and night. When she had to be braced with a steel brace. And when she had to wear those eye crutches in order to see her way around the house. She couldn't read even with those, her eyes were so bad. Now she's reading without them. I say that all of you who aren't already standing with one foot in the grave and the other on a banana peel can make your life worth living. If you will do so, and it isn't something, doing it doesn't require that you go to a university and spend 10 years learning things that are difficult to learn and difficult to understand. Life is simple. Living is simple. The rules of life are simple. We need only to be taught them. We need to learn them and to understand them. We should learn them ourselves. We should teach them to our children. We should ultimately see to it that they're taught in the schools and in the churches. About 5 years ago, I had a Catholic priest in my place as a patient from Wisconsin. And during the course of one of our conversations, he said to me, Dr. Shelton, this thing that you're teaching here in this institution ought to be taught in every school and every home and in every church in America. I don't know whether he's teaching it in his own church or not, but I do know some preachers who have enough courage to get up and in their pulpits and speak a little truth about health once in a while. And it ought to be done. Do you need precedent for it? You've got plenty of it in your Bible. There's plenty in there on diet and other elements of right living. It can be incorporated into religion without violating anybody's religious principles. And it should be done. But we should see to it that we get it into the public schools and get out of those public schools the fear propaganda that is now being peddled under the name of biology. Now, we have with us tonight a professor of biology in one of our schools. He's going to give a talk to you at a later time, not tonight. possible asking a few questions about that fearful propaganda. It's called biology. When he gets around to it, I think I may send him up the question myself. Dr. John Curcio is back there sitting on pins and needles because I'm talking too long. I'm going to quit. Thank you.
Now, shall we take a little break, and during the interim, we'll have the cards passed around for the question and answer period.
Dr. Shelton, what is our principal food? What is the most important element in our lives?
What is our principal food?
Yes, sir.
And what is the most important element in our
yes,
lives?
Sir.
Now, the last question might refer to food, and it might refer to some other factor of life. I'm not sure what is meant there. As far as I know, there is no such thing as a principal food. And I wouldn't advise any of you to try to confine yourself to some theoretically principal food. An adequate diet containing different foods is ideal. What is our most important element in life? If it does not refer to food, it may refer to something else. I mean food elements. Now, if it refers to food elements, I don't know of one element that's more important than the other. You can't live without any of them. If all of any particular food element were taken from your body, it would mean death. So I don't think that it would be wise for us to try to say, well, one element is more important than another. I have heard it said that you can live for weeks without food and for days without water, but for only a few minutes without air. And consequently, air is more important than food. But I don't believe that. I don't believe that you can live for weeks without food and for days without water. The man who goes for weeks without eating is not living without food. He's living on stored reserves. And the man who goes for days without water is not living without water. He's using the water that is stored in his tissues. And you can't do that without air simply because you don't store the air like you do the water and the food. I don't believe that you can live more than a few minutes without either of those things. Now, if other factors are meant, which is more important in our life, food, or water, or air, or peace of mind, or what you call spiritual health, I think the same answer is true. I don't believe you can say that any one of them is more important than the other. I don't believe you can get along without any of them. I don't believe that we ought to make of ourselves the kind of unintelligent worm that got into an argument, the tail to the head, as to which was most important, and they separated, and the head found that it couldn't get along, it couldn't move without the tail, and the tail found that it couldn't see, and it fell into a ditch. Let's live life as a whole, and stop trying to parcel it out and put it into little watertight compartments, and live it by piecemeal.
Now, the next one. Dr. Curcio, what is the best hygienic recipe for spaghetti and meatless meatballs? All right. Dr. Shelton, if the gorilla lives mostly in an ideal state, eating natural foods, etc., why do they not outlive man by perhaps 100 years or more?
I tell you what I think. Referring back to that question that Dr. Curcio refused to answer, I think the gorilla eats too much pizza pie. Actually, why doesn't the gorilla outlive man? Why doesn't the worm outlive man? Why doesn't the horse or the cow outlive man? All animals have a more or less fixed lifespan. You have often in the past read stories about elephants living 500 to 900 years old. Stories of that kind, all of them are just myths. There never has been an elephant that actually lived, so far as we know that he lived, beyond about 72 years. Man is the longest live of the mammals, constitutionally so. Even in spite of his evil habits of living, his average lifespan is far higher than that of the other mammals. There are a few reptiles, I believe, such as turtles, and perhaps a few fish that are supposed to outlive him. Some species of parrots and one or two species of bats are supposed to have a much longer lifespan than man. But even these are more or less guesses about their lifespan. An amazing thing about our knowledge, we boast of our great accumulation of knowledge sometimes, and when you undertake to find out how much we know, you sometimes discover how little we know. If you want to learn something about the animal kingdom, start through a library on biology and on natural history and books concerning the different animals. You might pick up a book on monkeys and another on lions and another on birds and so forth and so on, and go through them and spend weeks and months going through these works on the animal kingdom and end up without finding the thing you're looking for, without learning what you want to learn, because we know very little, actually, about the lives and the living habits of animals. Our biologists just delight in gathering a bunch of bugs or butterflies or frogs and mice and cutting them up and dissecting them and looking at the insides and mounting them and pinning them on pins and so forth and so on. But when it comes to the actual study of the lives of animals, they're not interested. It's like our historians. They tell us about the wars and the emperors. But when it comes down, how did the people live? What did they do? What did they eat? What did they wear? What did they think? You won't find it in your history. Now, the gorilla is simply not constituted for a long life. And no matter how perfectly he may live his life, he's still going to die at the time that he is constitutionally adapted to live.
Fasting good for any heart condition, and is there any heart condition which makes fasting inadvisable?
Before trying to answer that question, let me point out that fasting is not employed as a cure, whether it's your heart or something else. It is not a treatment. Fasting is merely a period of physiological rest, and no organ in the body outside of the digestive system receives more rest from a fast than does the heart. A heart that's beating 80 times a minute and that's beating against resistance so that blood pressure is high while feeding and while acting. We'll go down to around 60 and sometimes lower per minute while resting and fasting. And that means 20 beats a minute, pure pulsations, than it was doing while eating and while acting. Now 20 beats a minute is 1,200 beats an hour that is saved by that fasting heart.